Hey guys, Blaming on George here, and this is an abridged version of the Mysterious Locations Iceberg. Unlike most iceberg videos, this video will not cover every layer fully. Instead, the iceberg will be covered vertically, taking some of the most interesting entries from each of the layers in order to create a more engaging experience, hopefully. After watching, if you enjoyed the iceberg being covered in this format, let me know in the comments. But first, here's a word from today's sponsor, Aura. Guys, it is getting scary out there. Every day, your personal and private information is being collected and sold by shady companies and data brokers, let alone the myriad of scammers and hackers out there. And that's where today's sponsor, Aura, comes into play. Aura keeps your information safe online by continuously monitoring the dark web and alerting you if your personal information is exposed. If someone tries to use your identity, Aura will quickly alert you so you can take action. And with $5 million in identity theft insurance, you're covered if the worst happens. Best of all, Aura helps you opt out of data broker lists, meaning less spams, robocalls, and annoying emails. I used Aura myself for this very purpose because I was trying to get a new place, and the amount of spam calls and robotexts I was getting, sometimes literally minute after minute, was just getting absurd. Thankfully, Aura made it much more manageable and made me feel a lot more safer. And if that wasn't enough, Aura comes with a VPN, so you can surf the web anonymously. Don't wait until it's too late, guys. Go to aura.com/blameongeorge to get a 14-day free trial and secure your identity today. That's aura.com/blameongeorge. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. Area 51 and Roswell, New Mexico. Area 51 is the name of a highly classified United States Air Force military installation located at Groom Lake in southern Nevada. It has long been the focus of numerous conspiracy theories, fueled by the secrecy surrounding its research. Area 51 is especially notorious for its rumored connections to UFOs, or unidentified flying objects, a term which has been replaced by UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. Back in 1947, such an unidentified object crash-landed in Roswell, New Mexico. This incident became a famous conspiracy theory, alleging that the object was an extraterrestrial spacecraft. The United States Air Force recovered the debris, and international media reported that it was just a weather balloon. However, many believe the story was a government cover-up, and that the recovered craft eventually became the focus of ongoing research at Area 51. Stonehenge. Stonehenge is a prehistoric megalithic structure located in Wiltshire, England. The standing stones you see here are each around 13 feet high, 7 feet wide, and weigh around 25 tons. It's estimated that its construction began in 3100 BC and continued until approximately 1600 BC. It's a wonder for multiple reasons. For starters, these massive stones, called sarsens, were transported from the Marlborough Downs, a location that is approximately 15 miles away. The technology used to transport 25-ton stones for 20 miles during the Bronze Age is still the subject of various theories. Another mystery regarding Stonehenge is its purpose. Many suggest that the site was used for astronomical observations due to its specific alignments with the summer and winter solstices, as well as key moon cycles, such as the northernmost moonset and the southernmost moonrise. Stonehenge is built symmetrically about a line that runs southwest to northeast. While we may never fully comprehend the origins and true meanings behind Stonehenge, it's still interesting to consider its cultural significance. Pompeii. Back in AD 79, a nearby volcano called Mount Vesuvius erupted, spewing lethal gases and ash into the air. This eruption killed most of the population of Pompeii. However, what makes this a unique event in history is that the ash and volcanic rock covered the city's residents. Rainfall, which followed the eruption, cemented the ash, suspending many bodies in place and preserving scenes of the city's destruction. This level of preservation has allowed researchers to take a glimpse into ancient Roman civilization. The city was a thriving commercial hub, featuring shops, temples, and bathhouses, with an ideal geographical location due to its ports. Thanks to ongoing research, new discoveries continue to emerge regarding Pompeii and its people. Easter Island. Easter Island is famous for its large stone statues called moai. These statues were dated back to the period 1100 to 1680 AD. Over 1,000 statues have been counted on the island and in museum collections. Almost all of these statues were carved from compressed volcanic ash found at a single site on the side of the extinct volcano Rana Raraku. The statues range in height from 8 feet to over 70 feet, and commonly weigh between 10 to 12 tons. Similar to Stonehenge, the methods used for moving these statues remains a topic of debate. Throughout time, Easter Island civilization has faced many challenges, such as diseases introduced by European travelers, the impact of slave raiding expeditions in the 1860s, population reduction due to emigration, and deforestation and depletion of natural resources. Even now, efforts continue to preserve the moai and to protect the island's fragile ecosystem. Mariana Trench. Located in the western Pacific Ocean, about 124 miles east of the Mariana Islands, the Mariana Trench is the deepest oceanic trench on Earth. It is crescent-shaped, stretching about 1,580 miles in length, with a maximum known depth of about 6.8 miles, or 36,037 feet at its lowest point, which is known as the Challenger Deep. To put this depth into perspective, Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, could be fully submerged, and there would still be over a mile to spare. The conditions at the trench's depths are extreme, with crushing pressures of more than 1,000 times the standard atmospheric pressure at sea level, near freezing temperatures of 1 to 4 degrees Celsius, and complete darkness. Despite these harsh conditions, the trench is home to a variety of marine life, including species that grow significantly larger than their shallow water relatives, a phenomenon known as deep sea gigantism. In 2009, the Mariana Trench was established as a U.S. national monument and is a protected area. It remains a focus of scientific research into extreme environments and the limits of life on Earth. UVB-76. UVB-76, also known as the Buzzer, is a mysterious Russian shortwave radio station. Since the 1980s, the station has broadcast a short, monotonous buzz tone in upper sideband mode on the frequency of 4,625 kHz. The tone repeats at a rate of around 25 times per minute, and it broadcasts 24 hours a day. Occasionally, the buzz signal is interrupted by Russian voice transmissions. The purpose of the station is highly speculative, as no official confirmation has ever been offered by the Russian government. The voice transmissions that have been intercepted sometimes contain random sequences of words, numbers, or names. And there are even specialized formats used for these transmissions. The most interesting aspect about the station is that the transmission isn't just a recording. The tone is created manually, and all voice messages are transmitted live. Various theories have emerged over the years, including suspicions that the station is used to send encoded messages to espionage agents. Despite ongoing monitoring, its purpose remains unclear, and it remains one of the most intriguing unsolved phenomena in the world of shortwave radio. Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is a highly exclusive retreat located in Monte Rio, California, known for its towering redwood trees. It is a secluded 2,700-acre campground owned by a private gentlemen's club known as the Bohemian Club. The club is an invitation-only group that was founded in 1872 in San Francisco. Every year in mid-July, the Bohemian Grove serves as the venue for a 2-week encampment where some of the world's most prominent men gather, including political leaders, business executives, and cultural icons. Known for its secrecy, the annual gathering has given rise to various conspiracy theories over the years. One ceremony in particular, the cremation of care, where an effigy is symbolically burned as a gesture of letting go of worldly concerns, has led to claims of occult rituals. Although it is said that members are discouraged from conducting business during the events, Many believe that clandestine discussions take place there, leading to suspicions of political and corporate collusion. Due to the club's exclusivity and the influence of its members, most of the activities that take place there remain shrouded in mystery. The Gobekli Tepe. In 1963, a survey conducted by Istanbul University and the University of Chicago noted an ancient settlement that would eventually be considered one of the most startling archaeological discoveries of our time. American archaeologist Peter Benedict found stone tools at the settlement, as well as T-shaped pillars, which he interpreted as grave markers. It wasn't until German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began further excavation in 1995 that the significance of the discovery would be realized. What Schmidt found was that the T-shaped pillars were not grave markers at all. In fact, they were the tops of prehistoric megaliths that dated back to around 9,500 BC. These massive megaliths vary in size, with some weighing up to 20 tons and reaching over 20 feet tall. What's even more surprising is that this site predates Stonehenge by about 6,000 years. Based on these structures and other findings of the settlements, this site, named Gobekli Tepe, is now considered to be the world's oldest temple, built in the pre-pottery Neolithic period before writing or the invention of the wheel. Without metal tools or even hammers, it is suspected that the massive stones were shaped using flint tools to chip away at softer limestone and carving them into pillars on the spot. There is no evidence of permanent habitation at Gobekli Tepe. Rather, many believe it was a sanctuary for hunter-gatherers, and possibly used for rituals and communal activities. The Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines are a series of enormous geoglyphs etched into the soil of the Nazca Desert in southern Peru. Created by the Nazca civilization between 500 BC and 580, the geoglyphs depict figures of various trees, flowers, and even animals. These designs are also massive in size, covering approximately 200 square miles. The most interesting aspect is that for the geoglyphs to be fully appreciated, they have to be seen from high ground. In fact, the Nazca Lines were first discovered in the 1930s, when commercial flights began over the area. This is strange because back when the lines were created, there were no aircraft to fully appreciate them. This has led to speculation that they may have held some sort of astronomical significance, or even been used as a form of communication with aliens. There has been much debate about their purpose across the years. However, modern theories suggest that the Nazca Lines were actually part of a ritual to the gods in an effort to bring rain to the region. Considering the arid landscape, isolated environments, and dry climate, rain was crucial for survival. The lines may have even served to mark locations of underground aquifers, guiding people to sources of water or oases in the desert. HAARP Base. HAARP, or the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, based in Kokona, Alaska, is a research facility dedicated to studying the Earth's ionosphere. The ionosphere is a layer of charged particles caused by the sun's energy hitting the Earth. This layer helps radio waves travel long distances and is also the layer where the northern and southern auroras take place. HAARP is notorious for being a target of conspiracy theorists. In 2016, 2 Georgia men were arrested for plans to attack the facility. They had loaded assault rifles, thousands of rounds of ammunition, bulletproof vests, and radio comms. The men told police that their plan was to blow up a machine there that was, quote, trapping human souls. Other conspiracy theories involving HAARP claim that the facility is capable of geoengineering and controlling the weather, including the ability to create natural disasters, such as earthquakes, tornadoes, and hurricanes, and to even manipulate the direction of these natural disasters. Cat Island. Have you ever heard of an island where cats outnumber humans? Well, it exists. In fact, there are 2 such islands in Japan alone. Aoshima is an island in the Ehime Prefecture. Back in 1945, the island used to be a fishing village with a population of about 900 people. However, since then, the sardine fisheries have depleted and jobs moved to the cities, with most residents following suit. As of 2023, the human population on the island has dropped to just 5 people. Cats, on the other hand, number approximately 220, with 210 of them being spayed and neutered due to a program intended to control the population. However, at least 10 of the cats could not be found, as they were hidden by an old resident who opposed the program. To this day, it is uncertain how many cats remain on the island. Nevertheless, the island continues to attract tourists, with the cats being cared for and fed through donations from across Japan. Another island in Japan known for its cats is Tashirojima. As of 2015, the island had fewer than 100 residents and was home to at least 150 cats. Most of the population is elderly, and the island's future is uncertain. Despite these challenges, Tashirojima remains a popular tourist destination. Visitors can stay at a small resort with manga-themed cat-shaped lodges, a tribute to mangaka Shitaro Ishinomori, creator of the Kamen Rider series, who had planned to move there shortly before his passing. The island also features a famous cat shrine known as Neko Jinja, built in honor of a stray cat that died in a fishing accident. In Japanese culture, cats are seen as symbols of luck and prosperity, with some believing that the cats protected the island during the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. Door to Hell. In Turkmenistan, there's a crater that looks like it came straight out of a movie. Popularly known as the Door to Hell, this crater feels like a fiery pit that could melt the One Ring. George Coronis, a Canadian adventurer and former host of TV's Angry Planet, was the first individual to descend into this 100-foot deep pit of fire. Rumor has it that the Door to Hell was created when a Soviet oil rig fell into a crater in 1971. A geologist attempted to eliminate the rig by setting it on fire, but because the crater is located in a large gas field, the resulting flames were fed by the gas and have continued burning for decades, and still burn even now. Coronis said that the crater looked like a volcano in the middle of the desert. North Sentinel Island. In 2018, the death of an American tourist who illegally visited one of the world's most isolated islands brought attention to its inhabitants. North Sentinel Island is one of the Andaman Islands, an Indian archipelago in the Bay of Bengal. Its inhabitants are an indigenous tribe in voluntary isolation called the Sentinelese. The island itself lies off the main shipping routes and is surrounded by a shallow reef with no natural harbors. On top of this, the Sentinelese fiercely defend their land from any visitors, and there are even laws in place, enforced by the Indian government, to protect the island and its people. It is said that the Sentinelese population could number as many as 500 or as few as 15 individuals. Due to their extreme isolation, very little is known about them, including their language, which remains undescribed. Despite a few attempts at peaceful interactions, no communication has ever been established. Crooked Forest. In northwestern Poland, there's a village called Nowe Czarnowo. In this village, there is a grove of pine trees that are quite oddly shaped. The trees are so odd, in fact, that the method used to make them grow this way remains a mystery. This grove is known as the Crooked Forest. The grove consists of 400 pines planted around 1930. Each tree bends to the north just above ground level before curving sharply upright. Various theories attempt to explain this unusual phenomena. Some suggest that tools or specific techniques were used to manipulate the tree's growth. Other theories include the possibility of a snowstorm burying the trees during their early development, or a unique gravitational pull in the area contributing to their deformation. Despite their mysterious origins, the grove remains a popular tourist attraction. Mystery spots in California. This next entry is a mystery that seems to defy gravity. Or does it? Near Santa Cruz, California, there's a tourist attraction called the Mystery Spot. Interestingly, the site is associated with a phenomenon known as a gravity hill or magnetic hill. Gravity hills cause a particular visual illusion that distorts how angles are perceived. While photos capture the illusion, they can't replicate the experience of seeing it firsthand. The effect relies on visual perception and the design of the structures on site. For instance, this popular house, seen in many pictures, is tilted at a 20-degree angle. When combined with the viewer's orientation, the distortion creates the impression of standing at impossible angles. Other illusions include balls appearing to roll uphill and water appearing to flow uphill. The Mystery Spots, California's first gravity-defying attraction, has been featured in numerous newspapers and travel blogs, and has captivated visitors for decades. Baltic Sea anomaly. In June 2011, a Swedish diving team called Ocean X captured a sonar image of something inexplicable during an expedition. The image revealed a strange formation, approximately 210 feet long, and located at a depth of around 300 feet, which appeared unnatural. Its striking resemblance to the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars led many to speculate that it could be a sunken UFO. This peculiar formation soon became widely known as the Baltic Sea anomaly. While the discovery drew a lot of attention from enthusiasts and researchers alike, critics questioned the reliability of the sonar image. Despite these criticisms, theories surrounding the anomaly persist. Some suggest it could be the remnants of a lost civilization or an ancient artifact, while others believe it might simply be a natural geological formation. The Man from Taured. This next entry is less about a mysterious location and more about a man. Well, a man from a completely fictional place called Taured. The story goes like this. In October 1959, a 36-year-old man named John Allen Kucher Zegras entered Japan with his Korean wife. 3 months later, he was arrested by Tokyo Metropolitan Police for suspected identity fraud after attempting to cash a number of checks. A background check revealed a convoluted backstory, claiming Zegras was born in the US, educated in the UK, and later became a World War II Royal Air Force pilot who was captured by Germans. After the war, he allegedly lived in Latin America, became a spy for the US and South Korea, and later served as a pilot in Thailand and Vietnam. After that, he was assigned by the United Arab Republic to go to Japan on a secret mission with the intent of recruiting Japanese military volunteers. However, after contacting the relevant countries, authorities determined all this information, and even the seals on his passports, was falsified. He was sentenced to a year in prison before his deportation. This bizarre tale gave rise to a number of urban legends. Possibly the most popular version tells the story of a man who had once arrived from another dimension to Haneda airports in 1954. The man possessed a passport from a non-existent country called Taured. When asked to identify his home on a map, he pointed to Andorra. The next day, authorities found that the man had vanished without a trace. It is speculated that Taured is actually a misspelling of Tuareg, a nomadic ethnic group in the Sahara. Although the Man from Taured has fueled a number of urban legends and media coverage, it's plausible the entire mystery stemmed from a simple misprint on a falsified passport in an era long before digital records. Centralia. In Columbia County, Pennsylvania, there's a borough that resembles a ghost town straight out of a post-apocalyptic movie. The town is called Centralia, and it is the least populated municipality in the state. Back in 1980, Centralia had a population of around 1,000. However, Due to a coal mine fire that continues to burn to this day, most of the town has been abandoned. All real estate was claimed under eminent domain and condemned, and in 2002, the Postal Service discontinued Centralia's zip code. As of 2020, only 5 residents remain, following an agreement with the state and local officials, allowing them to stay until their deaths. The cause of the fire is still debated. Some believe it began during an attempt to clean up the town landfill, when an unsealed opening in the coal mine ignited. Others suggest a trash hauler may have dumped hot ash or coal into an open pit with a faulty barrier. Today, signs of the ongoing fire include smoke and steam rising from vents, and cracks in the surrounding ground, along with warning signs about unstable terrain and dangerous carbon monoxide levels. Despite the warnings, the eerie town still draws curious visitors to this day, especially along the graffiti-covered stretch known as Graffiti Highway. Kolmanskop. This next entry is about another ghost town called Kolmanskop, located in the Namib Deserts in southern Africa. In 1908, a Namibian railway worker named Zacharias Luwala discovered a diamond in the area. This sparked an influx of German miners who realized the region was rich in diamonds. By 1912, a town was established that produced over 11% of the world's diamonds. However, Kolmanskop's history is marred by bloodshed. To gain further control over the area, German authorities declared it a restricted zone, forbidding entry to ordinary people. As a result, many local tribes were displaced, some of whom were forced to work under harsh conditions. The Herero people eventually rebelled, but the retaliation left over 60,000 casualties. By the 1930s, the diamond field was exhausted, and after a new discovery to the south, the town's residents abandoned it. By 1956, Kolmanskop had become a ghost town, and in 2002, it opened as a tourist attraction. Interestingly, you may have seen Kolmanskop even if you've never heard of it. The first season of the Amazon TV adaptation of Fallout was filmed there, using its deserted atmosphere to depict a post-apocalyptic California. Sandy Island. Ghost towns are a popular topic, but have you ever heard of a phantom island? Sandy Island, near the French territory of New Caledonia, was marked on many maps and nautical charts for over a century. Its mystery was uncovered in 2012 when an Australian research ship passed through the area and found that the island didn't exist. This led to its removal from various maps, including Google Maps and those from the National Geographic Society. The existence of phantom islands on older maps can be attributed to human error or even copyright traps. However, many argue that such traps are uncommon in nautical mapping. Adams Bridge. Adams Bridge, also known as Rama's Bridge, is a chain of natural limestone shoals connecting the Indian subcontinent to Sri Lanka. Stretching 30 miles, much of it remains submerged, with some exposed above the waterline. The surrounding sea is just 3 feet deep, making navigation difficult for boats. There is also debate surrounding the origins of Adams Bridge. While many scientists assert that it is a natural formation, some religious groups believe it to be an artificial formation. The lack of thorough field studies means many uncertainties remain, leaving the true origins of the bridge unresolved. Roller Coaster Bridge. Another bridge that has drawn widespread interest is the Eshima Ohashi Bridge in Japan, also called the Roller Coaster Bridge. This bridge is famously depicted in photos where it appears to rise vertically, resembling a roller coaster. However, this impression is merely an optical illusion, created by using a camera with a telephoto lens from a distance. In reality, the bridge has a relatively moderate slope. Standing over 145 feet tall, the bridge's height adds to its striking appearance, making it seem as though it towers over the surrounding landscape when viewed from the right angle. The bridge spans 1.1 miles across Lake Nakaumi and is the largest rigid-frame structure in Japan, as well as the third largest in the world. Due to Japan's bustling fishing industry, the roller coaster bridge was designed to accommodate the frequent passage of large ships beneath it. Drivers report that the incline feels no different from a regular hill, and many have stated that it's not even necessary to press hard on the gas pedal when crossing. Tunguska event. In June 1908, at around 7:17 a.m., settlers in the hills northwest of Lake Baikal, Russia, noticed a bluish light, nearly as bright as the sun. The light streaked across the morning sky, leaving a thin trail in its wake. Suddenly, a massive flash followed, producing a towering cloud and a pillar of fire. The pillar split and faded, and 10 minutes later, a sharp sound ripped through the air. Eyewitnesses reported that the subsequent shockwave knocked people off their feet and shattered windows hundreds of kilometers away. The explosion was so powerful that it was recorded at seismic stations across Eurasia, with airwaves detected as far as Washington, D.C. This explosion, known as the Tunguska event, measured an estimated 3 to 50 megatons. The blast flattened over 80 million trees across 830 square miles of forest. Scientists attribute the explosion to a stony asteroid, approximately 160 to 200 feet wide. Despite the lack of an impact crater, it is classified as an impact event. Patomskiy crater. In southeastern Serbia lies a peculiar rock formation whose origins remain a subject of debate. Commonly known as the Patomskiy crater, or Potom crater, it is estimated to be around 300 years old. Composed of fragmented limestone blocks, the crater has a diameter of approximately 520 feet and stands 130 feet tall, with a smaller mound situated at its center. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain this mysterious structure. One suggests that it may be linked to a fragment of the Tunguska meteorite, which we previously discussed. Another hypothesis attributes its formation to the release of a deep pocket of natural gas. Despite several scientific expeditions, the exact origins of the crater remain unresolved. However, it has been determined that the formation is volcanic in nature, which challenges the meteor theory. Land underneath Antarctica. Antarctica is the southernmost and least populated continent in the world. About 40% larger than Europe, it is also the coldest, windiest, and driest continent on Earth, making much of it inhospitable. Inland temperatures can plunge below negative 80 degrees Celsius in winter. In fact, the lowest natural air temperature ever recorded on Earth was in Antarctica, reaching negative 89.2 degrees Celsius. The extreme cold covers 98% of the continent with the Antarctic ice sheet, a continental glacier averaging over 1.2 miles in thickness. This ice sheet is so massive that it contains a staggering 61% of all fresh water on Earth. While Antarctica's ice sheet has been known for centuries, advancements in imaging technology have only recently revealed the landscape beneath the ice. These techniques have mapped out mountain ranges, deep gorges, and rugged terrain. Monkey Island on Liberia. If Planet of the Apes were real, this next location might serve as the prologue. Monkey Island in Liberia is a unique sanctuary that shelters a colony of chimpanzees with a history as dramatic as any sci-fi plots. Coincidentally, around this time the first Planet of the Apes film was adapted for television, the New York Blood Center, one of the largest blood banks in the US, was funding a vaccine research initiative. At a time when animal rights weren't widely recognized, this search led to the testing of over 100 chimpanzees at a Liberian lab called Vi Lab 2. At the lab, chimpanzees were injected with hepatitis and other diseases. Once infected, they were moved to one of 6 islands for isolation. Over time, animal rights advocacy gained traction, and by 2005, the National Institute of Health implemented a moratorium on breeding research chimps. This forced Vi Lab to shut down, leaving about 60 chimps without a home. They were ultimately relocated to a series of uninhabited mangrove islands, including Monkey Island. The good news is that their contributions were not in vain, as Vi Lab's research eventually did lead to a vaccine for hepatitis B and a screening method for hepatitis C. Today, these chimps are cared for by dedicated locals, with support from donations facilitated through the Humane Society. Due to the animals' unpredictability and disease concerns, nearby residents avoid the islands. Closed cities in Russia. Have you ever heard of a closed city? A closed city is a settlement restricted from public access, typically surrounded by concrete walls and requiring a special permit to enter. Russia has the largest number of closed cities in the world, with 44 officially acknowledged cities housing about 1.5 million people. Many of these cities were established during the Soviet Union era, particularly during the Cold War. Some of these cities are protected by security perimeters, featuring barbed wire and guarded towers. Despite their secretive nature, residents reportedly enjoy better housing and access to higher quality goods than are available elsewhere in the country. Closed cities often contain sensitive facilities, such as military bases, ports, aerodromes, or secret research installations requiring high-end security. Interestingly, many of these cities appear only on classified maps, and residents are often expected not to disclose that they live there. Biringan City. Biringan is a mythical city said to be located in Samar, Philippines. Local folklore suggests that Biringan is populated by supernatural beings called the Encantos, or enchanted beings. These beings are often described as shapeshifters, capable of taking human form. The city is also believed to house golden treasures. Some travelers claim to have seen the city, particularly seafarers, who describe it as a, quote, dazzling city of light, visible during moonless nights. Allegedly, a Japanese company also observed brightly lit land in the region through satellite imagery. Believing it might contain deposits of uranium and gold, they established a worksite near the town of San Jorge. However, their efforts were plagued by mysterious accidents, ultimately forcing the company to shut down and cut its losses. Heard Island. Heard Island is a remote and uninhabited volcanic island located in the southern Indian Ocean. The island's most striking feature is Big Ben, an active volcano whose summit, called Mawson Peak, is the highest mountain in Australia at 9,005 feet. Big Ben frequently erupts, significantly contributing to the island's unique geological features and ecosystem. Heard Island is so distinctive that it was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1997. It's celebrated for its pristine subantarctic wilderness and nearby untouched environment. Despite being home to seals, penguins, and seabirds, its harsh weather conditions and remoteness have ensured minimal human interference, preserving its natural ecological processes. Access to the island is strictly controlled, with permits granted primarily for scientific research due to the sensitivity of its ecosystem. Wanaka Tree. The Wanaka tree, also known as that Wanaka willow, is a lone willow tree situated at the southern edge of Lake Wanaka in the Otago region of New Zealand. It has become a popular destination for tourists because it grows uniquely in the water. Its nickname originates from the Instagram hashtag #ThatWanakaTree, which has helped it become known as New Zealand's most famous tree. In 2014, photographer Dennis Rademacher captured an award-winning picture of the tree, earning the New Zealand Geographical Photo of the Year award. Unfortunately, the tree's rise in popularity has led to repeated vandalism, both intentional and unintentional. In 2017, a group of tourists attempting to climb the tree broke one of its branches. On another occasion, several of the tree's limbs were sawed off and left on the shore. Due to the cold water, it's difficult for the tree to regenerate damaged limbs. In response, the local tourism board has installed signs urging visitors to avoid harming the iconic tree further. Fairy circles in Namibia. In the arid grasslands of the Nabta deserts, a fascinating phenomenon creates circular patches of barren land known as fairy circles. These circles, ranging from 7 to 39 feet in diameter, are typically surrounded by a ring of grass. The cause of these fairy circles remains a mystery, though various theories have been proposed. One theory suggests that a specific termite species is responsible. Termite casts were found in over 80% of the analyzed circles, supporting the idea that sand termites create the formations by consuming nearby vegetation and burrowing into the soil. Critics, however, argue this may reflect correlation rather than causation. Another theory attributes the circles to vegetation patterns in arid regions. Grass competition for limited water and nutrients could lead to barren patches, with their shape resulting from natural growth dynamics. It's possible that both theories play a role. Grass competition might create dry spots, while termites shape these spots into circles. To uncover the truth, further research is needed. Eternal Flame Falls. In western New York, a section of Chestnut Ridge Park called Shale Creek Preserve is home to a unique natural feature, a small waterfall that emits natural gas. This gas can be lit to produce a small, steady flame, and once lit, the flame remains visible nearly year-round, though it occasionally extinguishes and must be relit. To improve its safety, the main trail to the waterfall was renovated and reopened in August 2023. However, the descent to the stream remains challenging, so visitors are advised to exercise caution and wear proper footwear. Despite its popularity, the site has faced negative impacts, including littering, vandalism, and pollution. These issues have affected both the waterfall and the surrounding environment. Gedi Ruins. Adjacent to the town of Gedi, near the Indian Ocean on Kenya's eastern coast, lie the ruins of Gedi. These ruins consist of a walled town with notable structures, including mosques, a palace, and numerous stone houses. A distinctive feature of the site is the presence of stone pillar tombs, characteristic of Swahili coast architecture. Due to its coastal location, Gedi served as an important trade hub. Excavation suggests that Gedi was once a densely populated urban center within the region. Local folklore holds that the Gedi ruins are guarded by spirits of ancient priests, known as the Old Ones, who are said to curse those who harm the site. Mano del Desierto. If you ever find yourself in the Atacama Desert in Chile, you could depart from the city of Antofagasta and take Route 28 heading east. Eventually, you'd reach Route 5. Driving south for about 30 miles, you'd encounter a dirt road that leads to something extraordinary. A massive sculpture of a hand rising from the desert sands. Known as the Mano del Desierto, or Hand of the Desert, this striking piece was created by Chilean sculptor Mario Irarrázaval. What's most captivating is its size. The sculpture stands 36 feet tall, a surreal sight in the vast barren deserts. Funded by a local nonprofit, the Mano del Desierto serves as a solemn reminder of human rights abuses during Augusto Pinochet's regime, a period marked by political repression and state terrorism. Since its inauguration on March 28, 1992, the sculpture has become a popular stop for travelers along the Pan-American Highway. The coolest thing about this work of art is that, even if you can't visit it in person, you can explore the Mano del Desierto virtually. Google Maps' Street View feature lets you explore this iconic landmark from the comfort of your home. Wall of Tears. This next entry has a tragic history. Located on Isabella Island, the Wall of Tears was constructed over 14 years, from 1945 to 1959, by prisoners held in the island's penal colony. Standing about 25 feet tall, the wall is infamous for the suffering it caused, as thousands of inmates reportedly lost their lives due to injuries, accidents, and inhumane treatment during its construction. Prisoners were forced to gather sharp, heavy lava rocks from around the island and labor under the sweltering heat to build the wall. Many believe the structure was intended to encircle the prison area, but it remains incomplete. This seems irrelevant, however, as the wall had no practical purpose on such a remote island. Instead, it was likely built as a cruel punishment, its sole function being to inflict suffering. This is said to be the origin of its name, a reflection of the pain and sacrifices endured by those who were forced to build it. Today, construction on the wall has long ceased, and Isabella Island is home to a peaceful community. Many residents are descendants of those who worked on the wall. Locals believe the Wall of Tears is haunted. Legend has it that if you stand near the wall, you can hear the cries of those who perished during its creation. Fusang. In Chinese mythology, a divine tree called Fusang is said to stand on an island far east of China. According to legend, the sun rises from Fusang, while a similar tree, the Romu, is said to lie in the west, where the sun sets. Mythology describes 10 ravens inhabiting Fusang. While 9 of the ravens rested, the 10th would carry the sun on its journey across the sky. Though this account seems purely mythical, there was a time when it was treated as historical fact. In 219 BC, Emperor Shi Huang reportedly sent his court sorcerer, Zhu Fu, along with 3,000 convicts on an expedition to Fusang. Their mission was to offer sacrifices to a volcano god and retrieve the elixir of life. The first expedition returned around 210 BC, with Zhu Fu claiming that a giant sea creature had blocked their path. A second expedition, equipped with archers to defeat the creature, was launched but never returned. According to some accounts, Zhu Fu secretly returned to China and lived off the expedition's funds. Despite these accounts, the actual location of Fusang remains uncertain. Some theorize it may have been north of California, near modern-day British Columbia. Norumbega. Norumbega is a legendary region depicted on numerous maps from the 16th century. Described as a utopian land of riches, it was said to feature houses with pillars of gold, and its inhabitants were rumored to possess an abundance of pearls. Some believe Norumbega to be located near modern-day Maine, or along the Patomskiy River. The town of Bangor, Maine, even commemorated the legend by naming its municipal hall Norumbega Hall. In 1886, inventor Joseph Baker Steems built a mansion called Norumbega Castle, which still stands overlooking Patomskiy Bay. Over time, Norumbega faded from maps and came to be recognized as a myth. Cactus Dome. Runnet Island is one of the 40 islands in the Marshall Islands' Inuiatik Atoll. It is home to a radioactive waste repository known as Cactus Dome. Built between 1977 and 1980, the dome was designed to contain radioactive debris from U.S. nuclear tests conducted in the region between 1946 and 1958. Concerns about the dome's structural integrity have grown over time, largely due to rising sea levels and increasingly severe storms caused by climate change. The dome has also been the subject of controversy. U.S. Army personnel who worked on its construction claimed that exposure to radioactive material without proper protective equipment caused severe health issues, including cancer. Some have since died, while others continue to suffer from chronic illness. The U.S. government, however, denies any link between their health conditions and their work on Runnet Island, refusing to provide compensation. Pokaini Forest. Pokaini Forest is infamous for its association with the supernatural. Some consider it a sacred site or a center for healing, attracting psychics who seek to tap into its alleged mythical energies. Others view the forest with caution, believing it to be haunted or possibly a gateway to a parallel dimension. While these claims lack substantial evidence, the forest does feature one undeniable oddity: piles of rounded stones scattered through its expanse. The origin and purpose of these stones remains a mystery. One theory suggests that centuries ago, the rocks were collected for the construction of a castle, but the project was abandoned. However, there are no historical records or evidence to support this idea. Another hypothesis is that the stones were gathered to clear land for farming. Yet, given their location deep within the forest, this explanation also seems unlikely. Regardless of their origin, the stones have become a focal point for superstition, with many attributing special or even magical powers to them. Bridge of No Return. Between North Korea and South Korea lies the Bridge of No Return, a place with a dark history. Guardhouses from each country stand at either end of the bridge, while the military demarcation line runs through its center, marking the border between the two nations. The bridge was primarily used for prisoner exchanges following the Korean armistice in 1953. Its ominous name comes from the nature of these exchanges, where prisoners of war were given a choice to either remain in the country of their captivity or cross the bridge to return to their homeland. However, once they crossed, they could never return. Although prisoner exchanges ceased in 1968, the bridge remained in use by North Koreans until the infamous Korean axe murder incident in 1976. This tragic event resulted in the death of 2 U.S. Army officers during a violent confrontation over the removal of a tree that obstructed visibility between the checkpoints. Dashka Stone. In Bashkiria, Russia, a debated artifact has raised questions about an ancient civilization that might have existed millions of years ago. Known as the Dashka Stone, this artifact is estimated by Russian experts to be 120 million years old, a claim that has left many baffled. The most astonishing feature of the stone is its intricate three-dimensional aerial map of the Ural Mountains. Often referred to as the Map of the Creator, the stone not only depicts the terrain of the Ural region, but also features an extensive network of channels and dams, spanning an astonishing 7,457 miles. The level of precision in the map suggests that it may have required advanced aerial surveying techniques, raising questions about the technological capabilities of its creators. Critics argue that the markings are coincidental, suggesting they merely align with the region's geography by chance. Zealandia. Zealandia is a continental mass that separated from Gondwana approximately 80 million years ago. Today, 94% of it lies submerged beneath the Pacific Ocean, leading to its classification by various terms, such as submerged continent, continental fragment, or microcontinent. The largest landmass above sea level within Zealandia is New Zealand. Among Earth's continental fragments, Zealandia is the largest by a significant margin. It is 6 times the size of the next largest microcontinent, Madagascar. As of 2024, Zealandia has an estimated population of approximately 5.4 million, largely concentrated in New Zealand. Despite its size, Zealandia has not been studied as extensively as other continents. Recent fossil discoveries suggest it once supported native fauna, providing evidence of its above-water history. Zerzura. In 1835, English Egyptologist John Gardner Wilkinson referenced a report by an Arab explorer who claimed to have discovered an oasis called Wadi Zerzura, or Zezura, which was said to be abundant with palms, springs, and ruins. While this report led to the finding of several previously unknown oases, Zerzura itself was never located. According to legend, Zerzura lies deep in the Sahara Desert, west of the Nile River, and is filled with treasure. Despite its mention in historical text, numerous expeditions into the deserts have failed to uncover Zerzura, leading many to believe the oasis is purely mythical, or a symbolic allegory passed down through generations. Inaccessible Island. Discovered in January 1656, Inaccessible Island is a volcanic island in the southern Atlantic Ocean. The island has a harbor that can only be accessed on a few days each year, and visiting it requires government permission. The island has had no permanent inhabitants since 1873. Due to its rocky coastline, strong currents, and other geographical challenges, ships often struggle to reach it. At least a few shipwrecks have been confirmed off its coast. Interestingly, the island's name reflects not only the difficulty of reaching its shores, but also the challenge explorers face in accessing its rugged interior. Today, Inaccessible Island is a natural reserve. It is home to the Inaccessible Island rail, the world's smallest flightless bird. Since 2004, the island has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Seven Giants in Russia. West of the Ural Mountains in Russia, the Man-Puppiner rock formations stand as a striking natural wonder. Known as the Seven Strong Men rock formations, they consist of 7 towering stone pillars and are considered one of the 7 wonders of Russia. Despite their popularity, the formations remained unspoiled by tourism due to their remote location. The pillars vary in height from 98 and 137 feet. Around 200 million years ago, mountains stood in their place, but natural erosion left behind these solid pillars. The stones are often said to resemble the figures of massive men. Local legends tell of Samoyed giants traveling through Siberia to attack the Mansi people. According to the tale, a shaman named Yalingner stopped them, turning the giants and himself into stone. This story is reflected in the formations of one pillar, appearing to face the other 6. Despite their sacred status among the Mansi people, who consider climbing the stones a sin, adventurous visitors have attempted to scale the pillars. Their smooth texture and irregular shapes, however, make it nearly impossible, even for experienced climbers. Nabta Playa. One of the earliest archaeological sites from the Egyptian Neolithic period is Nabta Playa, located roughly 497 miles south of modern-day Cairo in southern Egypt. Although the region is now a desert, evidence suggests that there were several humid periods in the past. During these times, the area was a savanna with a variety of animal life. Research has also suggested that the inhabitants of the area may have had significantly advanced knowledge of astronomy. An alignment of stones called a calendar circle was found in the region, though its alignment was unclear upon the first discovery. In 2007, a research paper was published proposing that the stones may have been aligned with the stars Sirius and Arcturus, the Alpha Centauri star system, and the Belt of Orion. If this is the case, then Nabta Playa would be the oldest astronomical observatory on Earth. Dighton Rock. The Dighton Rock is a 40-ton boulder currently housed in a museum at the nearby Dighton Rock State Park. It was originally located in the riverbed of the Taunton River in Berkeley, Massachusetts. The rock is notable for its petroglyphs, which have been the subject of debate. The rock was mentioned as early as the 1600s, though it became more widely known in the 19th century. Poet and critic James Russell Lowell referenced the rock in his satirical writings, which were widely circulated and may have helped spread knowledge of its existence. Various hypotheses exist about the markings on the rock. Some compare it to an Indian petroglyph found in eastern Vermont, and suggest that the writing may have been created by the indigenous peoples of the region. Others propose that an even older civilization, such as the Phoenicians, an ancient Semitic group that flourished from around 1500 BC to 300 BC, may have been responsible for the markings. Some hypotheses, however, have been debunked, including those suggesting that the writing had Norse or Portuguese origins. Singing Sand Dunes of Liwa. In the 1200s, Marco Polo described, quote, the sounds of all kinds of musical instruments, and also, quote, drums and the clash of arms. However, he wasn't referring to actual instruments or war. He was talking about sand. The term singing sand describes the sounds that grains of sand can create as they fall on top of each other, particularly in large quantities, such as those found in the desert. Among the deserts in the world, it is said that the most pronounced singing sands are found in the giant dunes in the south of the United Arab Emirates, the Singing Sand Dunes of Liwa. Local legends claim that evil spirits whisper names of disoriented travelers, and that their voices sing through the sand dunes. The sounds have been compared to the noise of a low-flying plane, with the most common frequency emitted being around 450 Hz. The phenomena of singing sand can be experienced in approximately 35 desert locations around the world.